Welcome to Via's Vision, where innovation meets the future.
You know, communication is one of the most fundamental ways we connect with each other. But for millions of people, there's a silent gap. So today, we're going to dive into some incredible technology called sign language recognition and see how AI is literally learning to listen with its eyes to bridge that very human divide.
Okay, let's just start with a number that's, well, it's staggering. 2.5 billion. That's how many people the World Health Organization thinks will have some degree of hearing loss by the year 2050. This isn't some niche problem, right? This is a massive, global communication challenge. And it really sets the stage for why the tech we're about to break down is so incredibly important.
So here's the game plan for our journey today. First, we'll get a handle on the core problem we're trying to solve. Then, we'll travel back in time to see how the technology went from these clunky gloves to the cameras in our pockets. We'll peek under the hood to see how computers are actually being taught to see and check out a real-world example in action. Then we'll face the toughest challenges that are still ahead and wrap it all up by looking at why this technology truly matters.
At its very core, this is all about a language barrier. For the deaf and hard-of-hearing community, sign language isn't just a set of gestures. It's a complete, rich, and nuanced language. But, when the vast majority of the hearing world doesn't speak it, simple things we take for granted, a doctor's appointment, a college lecture, you name it, can become huge hurdles.
And that's exactly where sign language recognition, or SLR, steps in. The goal here is basically to create a digital interpreter. It's a whole field of AI dedicated to using computer vision to watch the incredibly complex hand shapes, movements, and even the facial expressions of sign language and then translate all of that, hopefully in real time, into text or speech.
But this didn't just appear out of nowhere. The journey to get where we are today has been a massive leap in technology. We didn't just start with the fancy AI and smart cameras we have now. The early days were, well, a lot more hands-on, you could say.
The whole evolution really breaks down into 3 big stages. It all kicked off with these physical, sensor-based systems, like data gloves. From there, we moved into the mid-2000s with early computer vision, which relied on features that humans had to program in by hand. And that, of course, brings us to today, where powerful deep learning AI can just learn everything it needs straight from a camera feed.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because it's all about a crucial trade-off. Those early data gloves, they were super accurate because they were physically measuring every bend of the finger, every tilt of the hand. But they were also bulky, expensive, and let's be honest, you're not going to carry one around for a quick shot. The shift to using the cameras we all have in our pockets, that was the absolute game changer. It's a way harder problem for the AI to solve, for sure, but it makes the technology infinitely more accessible for real people in the real world.
Okay, so how in the world do you actually teach a computer to see and understand a visual language? Well, it turns out there are 2 main approaches, and each one has a totally different idea about what's important to look at in an image.
Let's think of them as the artist and the anatomist. The artist, or the appearance-based model, looks at the entire picture. Every single pixel, all the textures, the shapes, the fine details. It's really powerful, but it can get easily thrown off by a messy room in the background or bad lighting. Then you have the anatomist, the pose-based model. It ignores all that visual noise, and its first job is just to find a skeleton of key points, the joints in the hands and body. This makes it super lightweight and tough, but its entire performance hinges on one thing: how well it can find that skeleton in the first place.
All right, theory is great, but let's see how this stuff actually works in practice. We're going to look at a case study where researchers built a real-time system to recognize the American Sign Language alphabet, putting all these ideas to the test. So check this out. Here's how the whole system works. It's actually pretty simple and elegant. A webcam captures the video. Each frame gets prepped really quickly, and then it's fed into the brain of the operation. That's a special AI model. They used a model called MobileNet V2, which is like a sprinter. It's built for speed and efficiency on devices like your phone to understand what's in the image. Then another part of the AI helps it understand how those images change over time, and the result? Translated text popping up in real time. And the results? They were really impressive. For the task of recognizing the 29 signs in the ASL alphabet, which includes letters and some basic commands, their model hit 98.2% accuracy. That's huge! It shows that you can get incredibly effective recognition even with these super efficient models. But here's the thing. Accuracy is only half the story. The system ran at 35 frames per second. So what does that mean? It means it wasn't just accurate, it was fast. And that speed is what makes the translation feel smooth and responsive, not laggy. It's what makes it feel like a real conversation tool. This quote from the researchers themselves just nails it. A model that's nearly perfect but so slow it feels like a slideshow, that's basically useless in a real conversation. For a tool that's actually meant to help people communicate, that real-time performance is everything. A tiny drop in accuracy is a price well worth paying to make it genuinely interactive.
So look, the progress on recognizing single signs is fantastic. It really is. But translating the alphabet is one thing. Trying to translate a full, fluid, fast-paced conversation, that is a whole different beast. And that's where the field's biggest challenges are right now.
To really get the challenge, you have to understand there are two very different problems here. The first is isolated sign recognition, or ISR. Think of it like digital flashcards, recognizing one sign at a time. For the most part, researchers consider this a solved problem. But then there's continuous sign language recognition, or CSLR. This is the holy grail. This is translating an uninterrupted, flowing sentence, and it is exponentially more difficult. So why is translating a full conversation so tough? Well, for one, AI models are incredibly data hungry, and there just aren't enough massive, diverse video datasets of people signing naturally. Second, the AI has to figure out on its own where one sign ends and the next one begins in that continuous stream. Then there's something called co-articulation. It's how signs sort of blend into each other, just like words do when we speak. And finally, the model has to work for everybody, no matter what their personal signing style is.
And that really is the question, isn't it? This is what researchers are working on right now. How do we make that massive leap from a system that recognizes the individual letters to one that understands the entire beautiful, complex flow of a real, signed conversation?
Okay, so we've been deep in the weeds of the tech, right? Let's zoom all the way back out and focus on the big picture. Why does any of this matter? It's all about connecting this amazing technology back to its potential for real, profound human impact. I mean, just think about the possibilities. This could be completely transformative. Imagine having a personal interpreter right on your phone for a quick trip to the store. Think about a student getting a real-time translation of a college lecture. Or in a hospital, this could mean clear, potentially life-saving communication during an emergency. It could mean everyone gets to participate fully in a work meeting. This tech really promises to tear down barriers in every single part of our society.
So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've seen the tech for recognizing individual signs is basically here, and it's getting really accurate. The biggest mountains left to climb are all about understanding continuous conversational language. But as the AI gets smarter and as our datasets get bigger and better, the question really shifts from if this will happen to when. When will that device in your pocket finally become a seamless, real-time bridge across the silence?